What's going on, fellas? The boss man, Kirsten, has picked out a question for me. I don't know what it is. We'll get right into the video. What is the question?
What are your favorite exercises for your lats?
Okay, that's a good one. What are my favorite exercises for the lats? So, as always, this is going to be a slightly strength-biased take, although all of these are perfectly good exercises for hypertrophy purposes, if I kind of know ahead of time which ones I'm going to pick. Things like pullovers I think are awesome because they do mirror that function of keeping the bar in close in the deadlift, and they can be a nice little teaching tool and learn to keep the ribs locked down. But I don't think those move the needle enough to be included in my favorites. And we'll probably kind of broaden this out to like be more of a holistic upper back question than a pure lat development question, so I don't have to get into some goofy biomechanics argument about why iliac pull downs are God's gift to lifting. But I would say, okay, well, if we're talking about training our upper back, our lats, we're looking at the pulling function of the upper body, we probably are going to be looking for some kind of horizontal pull to be included in our training, relatively heavy for, 6 to 10 reps. One of my absolute favorite, I've made a video giving my tutorial of how I do them, is heavy single arm dumbbell rows. A, they're heavy, which is cool. B, we can load this deep stretched position, which is cool and beneficial. We can get this nice squeeze. We can bias it towards our lat or towards our upper back, depending on where we are pulling to. And most importantly for me, they challenge the midsection. They force you to work on your bracing. They tax the living hell out of your obliques because they're challenging this anti-rotation function. And anything that's going to give a little bit more stimulus to our midsection, build up a little bit more ability to resist forces, build up more work capacity at the midsection, I think is going to probably correlate with your deadlift a little bit better than say something with a chest support. So what are we building lat strength for? I guess it depends, but I would say lots of the tasks of just pulling something towards you, whether you're doing tug of war with your boy, whatever it might be. I think a single arm heavy like dumbbell row is going to fill that purpose quite well. So that would be number one. Kind of similar, working in that same vein, I think I could probably easily put barbell rows into this list. Again, same things, force you to work on your bracing, force you to be aware of how you're moving through space, kind of some specific, like position-specific strength that might relate to your deadlift. Lots of cool stuff there. Sand barbell row is a bit generic, so we are going to go with either a Pendlay row, dead stop strict from the floor, or a Yates row. If you look up Yates row, lots of the results are going to be a double underhand grip, though after Dorian tore his bicep, I think he began advocating for an overhand grip on those. Regardless, for powerlifting purposes, I like to do those overhand. And all I mean when I say Yates row is a row where we're a bit more upright than a traditional barbell row. Traditional barbell row, we're looking at torso angle of anything where we're anything from parallel to the floor to about halfway up the deadlift, whereas something like the Yates row, at least how I generally use that term, is going to be a row with the lowest point being around the kneecap. So a lot more upright than you'd normally think. People will probably give you flack for it and say you're cheating, but I do find these to be a very, very, very helpful tool for upper back strength across a wide variety of tasks, especially the deadlift, but in general, these slightly more upright rows, as long as we're keeping them strict, as long as we're keeping that tension in our lats and we're not just moving the weight with everything but our back, I think they're quite good. So we're going to go number one, single arm dumbbell rows. Number two, some kind of barbell Yates type of row. And then number three, I'm probably going to have to go with heavy neutral grip chin-ups. These are a personal favorite of mine because we're able to load this pretty deep stretched position. We're usually able to get a pretty sizable range of motion at the top, even if we're a little restricted in our mobility. So when we go to do a pull-up, we maybe can't quite get chest to bar, even if we've got the strength for it. If you've got some significant mobility restrictions through your front delts, might be a little hard. Whereas I find that even people with somewhat limited mobility can go chest to bar on a neutral grip chin-up. And these have done a tremendous amount for my lat development and strength, and also have built up quite a bit of strength in my arms that has carried over to the more varied tasks I'm asked to do in strongman. When I go to pick up a stone, when I go to carry a sandbag, there are some pretty significant demands on the biceps, and I feel that I am better prepared for these demands when I am training heavy neutral grip chin-ups often. I find that they tend to help a lot of things. We get some amount of activation of the midsection. Again, anything where we're moving our body through space is probably going to have these slightly better proprioceptive benefits to become a strength athlete, not just a bodybuilder that sometimes does deadlift, because I think they'll probably bolster your result if you're really aware of your positioning in space, and anything that we can challenge our midsection and build more capacity around the midsection I think is going to be a good thing. So I would say that's going to be my top three. Would be heavy single arm dumbbell rows, a Yates style barbell row, and then once you're able to do them, weighted neutral grip chin-ups. I would say if I could only pick three, those would probably be my three. Obviously, kind of the assumption here, this is on top of deadlifting, but I think even devoid of deadlifting, these would be a very good approach to developing some strong pulling power across your upper back. And I think it would probably carry across a pretty wide variety of tasks. The only other one I think I could throw in there, and it's not as much for the lats as it is for how many things it correlates well with, but I do like the old Josh Bryant prescribed towel pull-ups all the time to really challenge that grip strength in the fingers, which if you kind of are in any grappling kind of setting, pulling strength, wildly important, but it's pretty much useless if you don't have the grip to match. So I do like the inclusion of those for anybody who is into any kind of grappling sport. Towel pull-ups are awesome. But those would be my top three. Thank you boys for watching.